Hey guys, this is Pete with CrunchTimeCoaching.com, and Rafa Nadal just has done it. He's beaten Milos Raonic. And guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to break down the match between Rafa and Milos, and we're also going to look ahead and certainly want your comments on who do you think is going to win the 2017 Aussie Open. This has been just a fantastic start to the year. If you're a Rafa fan, you're happy. If you're a Roger fan, you're happy. If you're a tennis fan, you're happy. So many great stories on the Australian Open. And Rafa looks like he is back to his old self, right? He is running for every ball. He is fighting for every point. He's certainly still humble in his match interviews, but you know he's starting to feel confident. He says that his body finally feels good. He's playing with the right feelings. And so this is looking like the old Rafa who, when he gets deep in a tournament, has been almost unbeatable, right? When Rafa seems to get to that semifinal and final stage, he is one of the toughest people ever in the sport to beat. Now, today he played Milos, and Milos, hats off to him. Again, even today in defeat, he shows that he has all the tools and all the talent to win a major tournament. He also has the desire and the work ethic. He comes to these tournaments now saying that moral victories don't make him happy. You know, learning experiences don't do it for him anymore. He wants to win. But what he is also showing us, unfortunately, is that even though he's got all the tools, he's got all the talent, he's got the work ethic, he's got the desire, for some reason, mentally, he is not ready to win a major. And you have to start to question, will he ever be? He better hope, I think, that people like Rafa and Roger and Murray and Djokovic get out of the game sooner than later, because these guys have proven that when they get to the big moments in a match, they deliver. And that was the difference in the match. Let me know what you guys think. I thought the difference in the match was that Rafa, when he had a point that he had to win, he always won it. And when Milos had a point that he had to win, he didn't. Rafa went in 3 sets on 3 break points. Okay, that's clutch. 3 break points, 3 straight sets. That does not happen very often, that you can win in straight sets with only 3 break points. But yet Rafa was able to do that because he played the big points so well. One thing that's interesting, if we just look at the tennis board here about Rafa, what he's able to do is when it's a big point, we know that Rafa is like maybe the best counterpuncher ever. We can see him running back and forth, running down balls. He's a total grinder. But you notice on big points, and he even would do this to Roger over and over again. There was one famous Australian Open match where Roger had like 34, 35, a ridiculous amount of break points. And every time it was a big break point, Rafa would serve, usually a big serve, and then he'd hit a huge forehand to the open court, because most of the time you're going to get a break point. Lots of times it is on the ad side rather than the deuce side. And Rafa just runs that play over and over again where he serves big out wide and he crushes the first ball up the line. Even though he's more comfortable getting into long rallies, Rafa knows on big points that he has got to pull the trigger. And even though he will be the first one to admit that he gets very nervous, that he's a nervous guy, he somehow mentally gets himself to step up and pull the trigger and make it with a high degree of accuracy and consistency. It's uncanny how he's able to do this, especially since he's more comfortable as a counterpuncher. You know, he likes to kind of, I mean, even though no one likes to run, and it's exhausting, but I mean, one of the shots that's back that he's showing over and over again is people going to have him on the run. Then he gets pulled off the court, and that down the line forehand that he's hitting so well on the dead run that kind of buggy whips right back into the court. You know, he loves to do stuff like that. I mean, he's a great shot maker on the run, and when people are kind of forcing play on him. But when it's a big point, he will step up, he'll pull the trigger, and what Milos couldn't do that. In fact, lots of times it would be a big point. Rafa would barely get any kind of good racket on the ball, would be floating here. And McEnroe, who coached Milos, was very frustrated, saying he seems like he's surprised with the biggest serve as he is. He's getting these like bunt returns and that he's late to the ball. And I don't think that that's like surprise. I think it's more just nerves, like his legs lock up and he's a huge guy. And so you get a little nervous in the legs, you get a little nervous, and all of a sudden you're just a little bit late to the ball. And especially I think big people, tall, huge guys like him, when you're a little late to something and you're off balance, that's going to make a big difference in how you strike the ball. And it becomes very easy to miss easy shots. And that was, I think, a big theme of the match is when he got a little tight, he was late reacting to the shot. And then since he's such a big guy, he would be off balance and he would make bad unforced errors where Rafa on the big points, those feet were pumping. He was eager to get on the ball. He had it in his mind that he was in attack mode, that he was not going to let play be dictated on him. That's one thing that Rafa does really good for a counterpuncher. When it's a big point, he does not allow himself to be dictated to. He is going to do the talking with his racket. And that is what is so cool. Another thing that is so special about Rafa, especially in clutch moments, is there was one point where Rafa in the second set, it was deep in the second set, it was a very, very big point. Play went back and forth. Rafa got to come into the court a little bit, and he hit a drop shot that hit the net cord. And you just saw a look of utter disgust on Rafa's face. Like he was so upset with himself. Now, this is not unnormal for a tennis player, right? You miss a shot and you get really mad at yourself. But the difference between what Rafa, his look and his reaction compared to what most players do, like most players miss a silly shot and then they get really mad at themselves and then they get more and more nervous and they keep making stupid mistakes, very bad decisions, kind of like on an extreme, version of that would be Nick Kyrgios or Monfils, right? They will get upset at themselves, but then they'll keep playing bonehead plays. Rafa missed that shot, and he just looked like he just could not believe he made such a dumb decision, and he just went on lockdown mode. He's like, I will not do that again. So that's a good lesson for everybody out there. It's okay to get upset if you can really realize what you did wrong, not just that you missed the shot. Rafa wasn't upset that he missed the shot. He was more upset of why in the world did I just play that shot? And I will not make that stupid mistake again. And he didn't. Rafa, whether he's going to go for a shot or he's going to make you grind out a point, he really is so good with his shot selection. Rafa is one of the best ever with shot selection. He knows how to play high percentage winning tennis. And high percentage winning tennis doesn't always just mean getting the ball back in play. He knows the right moments when he has to keep the ball in play, and he knows the right moments that if he's going to go back into that mode of just keeping the ball in play, that he's going to lose. So he knows he's got to step up early in points, especially on big break points. And to me, that was the difference. I want to know what you guys think of that match analysis. I thought that's really what the match boiled down to. Now, if we're looking forward, I think you've got to really like Rafa's chances because he gets to play Dimitrov, who is playing great tennis. If you get to the semifinals of a major, you're playing great tennis. He destroyed Goffin today, and I mean, he looks awesome. I even saw him at the Cincinnati Open. I thought, wow, he's starting to get really sharp. So I got to see him play live, and I thought he's looking really, really sharp. So I'm not surprised. I think he's kept chipping away. His game has improved a lot. So I don't think it's the same old Grigor Dimitrov who is, the poor imitation of Roger Federer. I think he's going to come to play. I think it's going to be a tough match, but I think that Rafa's just too good. He's just too good. He's come too far. He's not going to be denied. He will beat Dimitrov. And for Roger fans, I think that this is a little bit of a scary, opponent. That basically what Rafa gets to do is play the ultimate Roger Federer sparring partner. If you've never seen Grigor Dimitrov play, go watch some videos on YouTube. He is a carbon copy of Federer. He looks just like him when he hits the ball. Very similar style of play. The only difference is Roger has 17 majors and Dimitrov has 0. So Roger has the X factor. Roger is a champion. It just the same way we talked about Nadal's uncanny ability to pull out big matches, big points, go for the right shots at the right time. That's what Roger's been able to do, and Dimitrov has not. So there's always just a little bit that separates the great ones from the rest of the players. It's really not that much. If you go to a practice court at a major tournament, you'll see somebody that you've never even seen hit a ball, and you're like, well, how can you hit a ball any better than that? These guys are just that good. So I think it's going to be great practice for Rafa if he can get through it. And that to me, I'm thinking Roger, even though I really want Roger to win, I don't think Roger's going to win the Australian Open as much as everybody I'm sure would love to see that happen. I don't see that happening. And also Stan Wawrinka is in his way. Now he's 16-3 against Stan. I don't think he's ever lost on a hard court to Stan. So that, if you're a Federer fan, which I am, is really, really positive. But what we have going against us as Roger fans is Wawrinka plays great at the Australian Open. That's where he had that huge win against Djokovic. That's where he destroyed Nadal, even though Nadal looked like he had some health issues. I think that first set, the writing was on the wall that no matter what Nadal was going to do, Stan had an answer. He is the one player that I think when he's on can beat the greatest of all time. He's proven that he's been able to beat Rafa in a big event, Djokovic. He's the type of guy that can take the racket out of your hand. And what's interesting is most players that can take the racket out of your hand usually do it off a big first serve and a first shot. Wawrinka can get himself into a rally, and then when you get into a rally with him, his shots are so heavy and he can hit through the court at any time. So he's great at long rallies and then hitting a winner out of nowhere to where you almost feel powerless. So if Roger, and I said this on my last video, if Roger is going to beat Wawrinka, he's got to do it in early points. If we look and we see Roger winning his serve, getting lots of first serves in, backing up with a big forehand, coming over the ball with his backhand instead of chipping it to get into a rally, that's good news for Roger fans. If he is coming over Stan's second serve and going for shots, that's a good sign. If he's able to come to the net successfully and Stan's not passing him, that's great news for Roger fans. But if the point starts to go long and you start to see Roger drop behind the baseline and have to play defense, that's not good. And so if I had to pick, as much as I'd love to say Roger's going to get to the finals, I think we're going to see Stan Wawrinka versus Rafa Nadal in a repeat. It's so hard to go against Rafa because he's just so doggedly determined, so tough in finals. But I think that Stan is one of the few players that can beat him, but just based off of how he's done in past majors. Stan has played some really marquee names in finals, and for a guy who has 3 majors now, he does not seem to be intimidated by the big stage against legends. And so I think that Stan is going to win the Australian Open, which will now make it the US Open and Aussie Open back-to-back. You've always talked about the big 4 being Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, and Murray. Well, guess what? If Stan wins this, he'll have more majors than Murray. So does he then kick Murray out of that place, being that Murray's certainly probably been more consistently in the top 5 than Stan during his career? But hey, I think majors speak more. So let me know what you think. If Wawrinka wins this, does that put him over Murray as far as who you talk about, even though Murray's #1 as far as the big 4? I don't know. That's a tough one because Murray certainly be more consistent in his career, but now Stan will have more majors. Of course, Stan hasn't won yet, and he might not win. I could certainly be wrong, but I want to know what you guys think. Mine is Pete from crunchtimecoaching.com. I am an online instructor. I would love you to like this video. If you enjoyed watching today's video, please give it a like. Share this with your tennis friends so you guys can have a debate on who you think is going to win. And also, please subscribe to my channel. So if you subscribe to my channel, you'll be getting a number of tennis tips. And the cool thing about YouTube is they will notify you when I upload a new video on tennis. And since Rafa, as a tribute to Rafa, when this video, right now it's live, but when it becomes just a regular video on YouTube, I'm going to post a lesson on how to get the Rafa topspin on your shot. So if you want to learn how to hit that massive topspin like Rafa does, at the end of this video, you will see an end card that will bring you to a website that you can sign up to get a topspin tennis lesson. It's something that's a lot of fun to hit. And thanks so much for watching today's video. Let me know, comment below, who's going to win the Australian Open. It's okay if you disagree with me. It's a total debate. That's why Rafa says sport is sport, and we will see who wins when they go out there and they go to battle. Take care, and thanks so much for watching today's video.